When we do renders like this, we don't really show all of the textures or materials we use, and that makes following a tutorial only more difficult. When you have a guide that shows you the exact same materials, colors and textures used, you will most probably look very similar. This is why I have created a minimal plan render guide that shows all the things I have used, from font to colors and icons I have used. Hopefully this will make your render go easier, so let's get started. Now I split up this video in 6 parts, each part dedicated to the major steps I am doing. When you have a list like this for yourself, it makes it easier as you know exactly what you are going to do and won't forget anything. Step 1 is to fill in your plan walls with black. Some people like to use grey, however, we're doing a minimal plan render and I think black really makes the floor plan pop out. Make sure you select everything and use a new layer and paint all over the new layer rather than painting over the original layer. Before going into the second stage, if you don't have any of these textures of your own I've provided, you can select the area, go to edit, create pattern from selection and name the texture and you're ready to go. Step 2 is adding textures and colors in the plan and the site. I selected all the grass areas and added the pattern on a new layer and mess with the opacity. Now you have to mess with the opacity until you're happy with it. Remember, it's a minimal plan render, so nothing too dark. You can carry on and use whichever color you want from the color palette to be your walking path or your interior floors. Since I have a lot of water on the side, I used the watercolor guide provided and then lowered the opacity as I still thought it was too dark. Now again, this is up to you. Remember that you can get lost in your tiny screen, so once in a while take a step back and check, is it too dark? Do I need to make anything lighter? So that's one way to double check your work. Stage 3 is adding textures in the floor plan. Once again, use the textures provided or use something similar if you want. Select all areas with the magic wand tool and add the texture. You can see how I am changing the opacity because I'm thinking about the first thing I want to show, as my concept was around the water and grass. So that's why you can see that more, for example, than the path. You can choose what the viewer sees first, and that is important during a presentation. Stage 4. Stage 4 is adding trees and vegetation, my favorite part. Now I firstly had to add these trees, which I then changed later on, but I just wanted to show you how I did it. You can use my guide for the trees and just drag and drop it into your file. You can then resize it accordingly. I also have a few trees and scrubs internally and will be using another type of tree. Now there is something cool you can do. If you select the tree with the magic wand tool and go to edit, define brush, you can use the tree as a brush. Now this only works if you have a silhouette shape, which is exactly what we have here. You can make it smaller or bigger by using the square bracket buttons on your keyboard as shortcuts. I will change the trees towards the end of the video as I wanted to finish the rest first. Step 5 is adding icons. Now because it's a minimal plan, I won't use any red or green arrows as we normally do. These arrows represent the entrances of the building and to make it accessible as possible. You then have to add your north point, which many people forget, and this is very important in your presentation. You can add more icons like arrows or wind or whatever you like, but like I said, it's a minimal plan render. Step 6. Step 6 is the last one, so here we add room names. This is very important as we all sometimes find some precedents which have no room names and it makes it very difficult to understand the rooms and how the building works. Make sure you are aligning them as much as possible and not to make the text too big. Normally we go for 10 or even 8, but you can push it to go up to 12 but not more. These are the new trees I have used. Just a few tips. Make sure you change the size, rotate them, and don't have them all in a perfect straight line either. It just makes them look more natural. I have added this tree in the guide, so you should be ready to go when you start your minimal plan render. You can share your version of your minimal plan render, and I will promote each one on my Instagram page. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.